A poor girl brought a homeless man home without knowing he was a millionaire CEO, and what happened next changed their lives forever. Have you ever wondered what you'd do if you discovered that the most vulnerable person you decided to help turned out to be one of the most powerful in the country? And what if that act of kindness made you the target of a conspiracy that could cost you your life? This is the story of Sophia, a young woman from downtown Brooklyn who struggled every day to find work and support her sick grandmother. Her world completely changed when, in an alley in New York City, she stumbled upon her destiny disguised as a homeless man. What began as a simple act of compassion transformed into an epic battle against power, lies, and family betrayal. Because sometimes the truest love is born in the most unexpected places, and the most dangerous people are those who know all our secrets. Get ready for a story where every smile hides a lie, every act of kindness could be a trap, and where you'll discover that the price of true love is sometimes being willing to lose everything. Are you ready to learn the secret that could destroy an empire, but at the same time build the most powerful love you've ever known? The story you're about to hear will keep you on the edge of your seat until the very last moment. The midday sun beat mercilessly on the streets of downtown Brooklyn, while Sophia ran with her wrinkled resume in one hand and a plastic bag in the other. Her worn shoes echoed against the uneven pavement, and sweat beaded on her forehead. This job interview was her last hope before the landlord evicted her from the small apartment she shared with her grandmother Grace. Turning down a narrow alley to take a shortcut, her feet slipped on wet papers and a banana peel. Everything happened in seconds. The bag flew through the air, the sandwiches she'd bought for lunch scattered across the dirty ground, and she fell to her knees on the concrete. "This can't be happening," she murmured, watching her lost food as if it were her last vestige of hope. "Are you okay, miss?" The voice emerged from a pile of cardboard boxes. It was deep, educated, too refined for someone who seemed to live on the street. Sophia looked up and saw a man about 30 years old. Disheveled hair, several days' beard, dirty clothes that had once been expensive. But what struck her most were his eyes, clear, intelligent, too observant for someone in his apparent situation. "Yeah, just—" Sophia studied him curiously. "Why do you talk like you're from Manhattan but live on the street?" The man smiled with melancholy. "Maybe because I haven't always lived here." He approached and began picking up the scattered sandwiches. "There are still some that can be eaten. The turkey and Swiss are intact." Sophia watched him carefully. There was something strange about his movements, too elegant, too careful. "Are you hungry?" asked the stranger. "I know a cart that sells the best pastrami sandwiches in the whole neighborhood." "I don't have money for gourmet sandwiches," Sophia replied, getting up and brushing dirt off her knees. "My treat." The man pulled $100 bill from his torn pocket. Sophia froze. What kind of homeless person has that much money? But he was already walking toward the food cart, leaving her with more questions than answers. 3 days later, Sophia was returning from the grocery store when she saw him. Matt, that's how he'd introduced himself, was leaning against the same wall as always. But something was different. He was shaking uncontrollably, and his face was pale as chalk. "Matt," she approached cautiously. An infected wound on his arm was oozing through improvised bandages made from shirt fabric. "I'm fine," he murmured, trying to stand up, but his legs gave way. "No, you're not fine. I'm calling an ambulance." "No!" The urgency in his voice stopped her cold. "Please, no hospitals, nothing official." Sophia stared at him. "Are you a criminal?" Matt closed his eyes, breathing with difficulty. "I'm someone who's running from something worse than prison." The answer disturbed her, but something in his desperate tone moved her. Without thinking twice, she put her arm around him. "Come on. My apartment is 2 blocks away." "I can't accept." "It's not a request, Matt. It's an order." The journey to her building on Atlantic Avenue was slow and painful. Matt limped, but kept his back straight with a pride that contrasted with his appearance. Neighbors watched them curiously from their windows, but Sophia paid them no attention. Arriving at the small two-bedroom apartment, Sophia guided him to the worn sofa in the living room. While he rested, she went for hot water, alcohol, and clean bandages. "This is going to hurt," she warned, cleaning the wound. "I've been through worse," Matt replied, but grimaced when the alcohol touched the raw flesh. While she treated him, Sophia noticed details that didn't add up. His hands were too soft for someone living on the street. On his wrist were pale marks, as if he'd worn an expensive watch until recently. And when he took off his shirt, she saw small, precise scars on his torso, marks from expensive surgeries. "Who are you really, Matt?" she whispered, but he had already fallen asleep. A week later, living together in the small apartment had created a strange but comfortable routine. Matt was recovering quickly, too quickly for someone who supposedly lacked adequate medical care. Every morning, Sophia went out looking for work while he stayed home, helping with household chores. But there were things that didn't add up. That afternoon, Sophia came home early and found Matt repairing her old laptop with precision that left her speechless. His fingers moved over the keyboard like an expert's, reconfiguring systems she didn't even know existed. "Why do you know so much about technology?" she asked, setting the grocery bags on the table. Matt didn't look up from the screen. "Everyone knows something about something." "That's not an answer, Matt. My laptop had been trying to die for 5 years, and you brought it back to life in an hour." He closed the computer slowly. "I had access to these things before." "Before what?" Silence. That night, while Matt slept, Sophia decided to investigate. His worn backpack was in the corner of the living room. Carefully, she checked the compartments until she found a yellowed envelope hidden in the lining. Inside were corporate documents, contracts with official seals, and an ID badge with Matt's photo, but younger, wearing a suit. The name on the badge left her cold. Matt Lancaster, Chief Executive Officer, Lancaster Technologies. The next day, during breakfast of coffee and donuts, Sophia put the badge on the table. "Don't play games with me, Matt. This document has your name on it. Who are you really?" Matt looked at the badge as if seeing a ghost. "Someone who lost everything by trusting the wrong people." "Lost everything? You're the CEO of one of the biggest tech companies in America." "Was." Past tense. "Now I'm what you see." Before Sophia could respond, her phone rang. Unknown number. "Hello?" A male voice, cold and calculating. "The rat you're feeding is going to destroy your life. Stay away before it's too late." The call ended. Sophia looked at Matt with eyes full of fear and confusion. "Who was that?" he asked, but his expression suggested he already knew. "Someone who knows you're here." The doorbell rang at 8 in the morning with an insistence that made the walls of the small apartment shake. Sophia opened the door and found herself face to face with a suited man holding a leather folder. "Sophia Morales?" "Yes. What do you need?" "I'm looking for Mr. Matt Lancaster. I understand he's staying here." Sophia's world stopped. Matt appeared behind her, his face pale as if he'd seen death. "Mr. Lancaster." The lawyer extended an official envelope to him. "Legal summons from the Securities and Exchange Commission. The Board of Directors of Lancaster Technologies requests your immediate appearance." When the man left, Sophia slowly closed the door and turned to Matt with tears in her eyes. "CEO of Lancaster Technologies, the Matt Lancaster who disappeared last year, the one who was all over the news." "Sophia, I can explain." "You lied to me." Her voice broke. "I felt sorry for you, gave you my home, shared my grandmother's food with you, and you're a millionaire." Matt approached, but she backed away. "I was a millionaire. Now I'm just a man who found something more valuable than money." "More valuable? Are you mocking me? You could have stayed at any 5-star hotel." "And then?" Matt looked directly into her eyes. "Would I have met the bravest woman in all of New York City? Would I have remembered what it feels like to be treated like a human being and not like a bank account?" Sophia felt her legs trembling. "What else have you hidden from me?" Before Matt could answer, Sophia's phone vibrated. A text message from an unknown number. "Sophia Morales, Lancaster Technologies is pleased to offer you the position of administrative assistant. Salary, $4,500 monthly. Report tomorrow at 9 a.m. 432 Park Avenue, Manhattan. Sophia showed the message to Matt, who turned even paler. "This isn't a coincidence," he murmured. "What do you mean?" Matt collapsed onto the sofa. "Sophia, they hired you because someone's been watching you too. They've been tracking me through you since day one." The room filled with terrifying silence as reality hit Sophia like a punch to the stomach. That night, after Sophia made chamomile tea to calm her nerves, Matt finally spoke. They sat on the small sofa, surrounded by the familiar aroma of vanilla candles that Grandmother Grace always lit. "My father, Marcus Lancaster, founded Lancaster Technologies 15 years ago," Matt began, looking toward the small shrine in the corner. "But not to innovate or help America. He created it to launder money from his border businesses." Sophia felt a chill. Money from what kind of businesses? The kind that don't ask where the cash comes from. "When I grew up and took control of the company, I discovered the fake contracts, phantom accounts, connections with corrupt politicians. I tried to clean it all up. And that's why you disappeared." Matt nodded. "My father gave me an ultimatum. Continue with the scheme or be eliminated from the picture. Victor, my partner and best friend since college, allied with him. They planned to make me disappear permanently. And what do I have to do with all this?" Matt looked at her with eyes full of guilt. "Victor hired you to get close to me. They knew that eventually I'd let my guard down, that I'd need help. They didn't count on me really falling in love with you." The words hit Sophia like ice water. "Are you telling me that all this, that my job, that meeting you, was planned?" "The job, yes. But what I feel for you, what we've built here, that's real." Before Sophia could respond, her phone vibrated. A message with 3 photos, her grandmother Grace, buying medicine at CVS, walking through Central Park, entering the clinic. In each image, there was a man in a cap following her. The message read, "He's using you, Sophia. We'll protect you if you turn him in. You have 48 hours to decide." Sophia dropped the phone. Her hands were shaking. "They're following my grandmother." Matt took the phone and saw the photos. His face hardened like stone. "It's not just about us anymore," he murmured. "Now they're using your family." Sophia stood up, walking to the window. The city lights flickered below, each one representing normal lives she could no longer have. "What are we going to do, Matt?" "We're going to beat them at their own game." Sophia's first day at Lancaster Technologies was like entering another world. The glass building in Manhattan contrasted brutally with the brick streets of Brooklyn. Perfect receptionists, silent elevators, offices that cost more than her entire neighborhood. Victor received her in his 20th floor office. He was a 40-year-old man, perfectly styled hair, Italian suit that screamed power. But his eyes had something cold, calculating. "Sophia, welcome to the team. We expect great things from you." During the first weeks, Sophia fulfilled her administrative tasks while observing. She learned the access codes, identified security cameras, memorized the cleaning staff schedules. Matt had taught her what to look for. Unsigned documents, meetings not registered on the official agenda, calls from private lines. A month later, Victor called her to his office after work hours. The city stretched before the windows like a golden blanket of lights. "Sophia, why did you really hire me?" she asked directly. Victor smiled, but it wasn't a kind smile. "Because you have access to someone we need to find." "Matt Lancaster?" "The same. You see, Sophia, Matt is sick, mentally unstable. His disappearance hurt many investors, employees, families. We need to help him come back." Sophia pretended to consider it. "And how can I help?" "You're going to help us catch him, or your grandma will have more serious problems than her diabetes." The direct threat hit her like a bucket of cold water, but Sophia maintained her composure. "I understand. I'm glad you're a smart girl." That night, Sophia returned to her apartment late. As she climbed the stairs, she noticed something was out of place. The door had new marks around the lock. Upon entering, everything seemed normal, but she had the feeling that someone had been there. She checked each room carefully until she found what she was looking for, a small camera hidden behind the frame of her grandmother's photo. With her heart racing, she kept searching. She found 3 more cameras, one in the living room, another in the kitchen, and the last one in her bedroom. Victor had been recording everything since day 1. She took her phone and sent a message to Matt. "We need to talk. They're watching us." The next day, Sophia came home from work and found her apartment door ajar. Her blood froze. She ran inside, shouting, "Grandma!" but found only silence. On the kitchen table was a handwritten note. "Sophia, they took me to meet some very important gentlemen. I'll be back soon. Don't worry. Grace." But Sophia knew her grandmother's handwriting, and that wasn't it. Her phone rang. "Victor. Looking for something, Sophia? Where is my grandmother, you bastard? Calm down, please. Mrs. Grace is enjoying a delicious meal at Le Bernardin. Caviar, lobster, the best of the best. Though it seemed she didn't eat much. Nerves, I suppose." Sophia gripped the phone until her knuckles turned white. "If you hurt her, you touched my grandmother, Victor. You crossed the line. It was just a reminder that you have a lot to lose. Grace is a lovely lady, by the way. She told me how she raised you when your parents died in that accident on I-95. What a tragedy." Every word was a stab. Victor knew intimate details of her life that only her family knew. "What do you want?" "For you to bring Matt to the offices tomorrow. Tell him he needs to sign some documents to protect you. If he doesn't show up, your grandma will have an unfortunate accident on the subway stairs." When Matt arrived that night, he found Sophia crying on the sofa, hugging the pillow that smelled like her grandmother's herbal remedies. "They took her," she sobbed. "Victor took my grandmother." Matt sat beside her and hugged her. "We're going to fix this." "No!" Sophia separated from him, her eyes red with fury. "Matt, it's over. Either we act now or we lose everything. I won't let them hurt the only family I have left." "You're right. It's time for the world to know who the real villain is." At that moment, the door opened slowly. Marcus Lancaster entered as if he owned the place, accompanied by 2 burly men. "My son," he said in a grave voice, "enough games. The time has come for you to return home and stop playing poor." Sophia stood up, trembling with rage. "You have no right to be here." "I have every right, girl. After all, I've been paying the rent on this place for a month." The annual Lancaster Technologies dinner at the St. Regis Hotel brought together the cream of the American business world. 500 guests dressed in formal attire, journalists from specialized magazines, and several international investors. Victor had organized the event to officially announce the company's restructuring. Sophia arrived in a black dress borrowed from a co-worker, nervous but determined. In her purse, she carried a USB drive with all the recordings she had managed to obtain during her time at the company. Matt waited at the bar, unrecognizable in a new suit and well-cut hair. For the first time in months, he looked like the CEO he really was. At 9 o'clock, when Victor went up on stage for his speech, Sophia moved silently toward the sound and lighting control. "Ladies and gentlemen," Victor began, "tonight marks the beginning of a new era for Lancaster Technologies." "Excuse me," Sophia interrupted, taking the auxiliary microphone. "Before you sign with Lancaster Technologies, I think you should see this." The giant screen behind the stage lit up. Audio recordings began playing where Victor talked about bribes, fake contracts, and threats to employees. "Sophia, get down from there!" Victor shouted. But the security guards didn't move. They were too busy listening. "Victor has been blackmailing employees and laundering money for years. Here's the proof," Sophia continued, as more documents appeared on screen. The murmur in the room became a roar of indignation. "The real CEO of this company is here. Matt Lancaster has returned." Matt went up on stage amid camera flashes and looks of amazement. "Victor, for corporate fraud and threats against innocent civilians, you are officially dismissed." The police, who had been waiting outside thanks to an anonymous call from Matt, entered the room. Victor tried to escape, but was intercepted before reaching the door. As they handcuffed Victor, he shouted, "This doesn't end here. My real boss is still free." At that moment, Matt's phone vibrated. A real-time video message, his grandmother Grace tied up in a warehouse, and a voice he recognized perfectly. "Your father has Sophia, Warehouse 47, Queens. Come alone, or she dies." Warehouse 47 in Queens was a concrete skeleton abandoned since Hurricane Sandy. Matt arrived alone, as ordered, but carried his phone streaming live through social media. Inside, the light from a hanging lamp illuminated the scene. Sophia tied to a metal chair, her mouth sealed with duct tape. Beside her, Marcus Lancaster wore an impeccable suit that contrasted with the dirt of the place. "Dad, let her go. I'm your problem." Marcus smiled coldly. "You were my biggest disappointment, Matt. But she gave you the strength you needed to defy me. She turned you into the idealist I always feared you'd become." Sophia tried to speak through the tape, her eyes full of determination and rage. "Matt, don't sign anything. I'd rather die than see you give up," she shouted when she managed to partially free her mouth. "Nobody's going to die here. Except maybe my respect for you, Dad." Marcus pulled a revolver from his jacket. "This is no longer about respect, son. It's about power, and power requires sacrifices. Are you going to kill your own son? I'm going to eliminate the obstacle that prevents me from recovering what I built." Matt approached slowly. "You know what's ironic? All this time you thought I was your weakness. But the truth is that you're mine, because despite everything, I still hoped you had some humanity. Humanity is a luxury I can't afford." Marcus aimed the weapon, but at that moment, the warehouse door burst open. Dozens of federal agents stormed in with bulletproof vests and automatic weapons. "Drop the weapon!" shouted the commander. Marcus looked confused. "How?" Sophia smiled through her tears. "I activated the live stream on my Instagram before you brought me here. Thousands of people have been watching everything. The comments are full of people tagging the police." Marcus slowly lowered the weapon, defeated. As they handcuffed him, he murmured, "I underestimated the millennial generation." The paramedics freed Sophia, who ran toward Matt. They embraced with the strength of those who had been about to lose each other forever. "Are you okay?" he whispered. "Now I am." 6 months later, Brooklyn had gained a special new corner. Destiny Cafe occupied a corner of Atlantic Avenue, with large windows, hanging plants, and the constant aroma of freshly made coffee. The walls were decorated with photographs of New York City and succulents that Sophia cared for religiously. Matt had sold his stake in Lancaster Technologies and used the money for this project. It wasn't an empire, but it was theirs. It was theirs. One December afternoon, while Sophia organized the new books that had arrived for the cafe's small library, Matt approached nervously, carrying 2 cups of coffee. "Do you regret finding me in that alley?" he asked, sitting next to her. Sophia looked at him tenderly. "I only regret not finding you sooner." Matt got down on one knee, pulling out a simple silver ring with a small emerald. The cafe filled with expectant silence. The regular customers, who already knew their story, stopped talking. "Sophia Morales, will you marry me?" "Matt Lancaster, I want to be your everything for the rest of my life." The ceremony was held in the cafe's backyard, decorated with colorful bunting and marigolds. Grandmother Grace, completely recovered, was the matron of honor. A jazz band played "The Way You Look Tonight" while the newlyweds danced on sunflower petals. The judge, a family friend, declared them husband and wife under an arch of roses. The guests were neighborhood residents, cafe employees, and some honest former Lancaster Technologies workers. During the party, a mailman delivered a certified letter. It was from the federal prison, with Marcus Lancaster's careful handwriting. "Son, forgive me. In the end, she taught you what I never could, that true love is the only power worth having. Be happy. Your father." Matt read the letter aloud. Sophia took his hand and squeezed it. "Are you going to answer him?" she asked. "Someday, when I'm ready to forgive." That night, while they cleaned the last dishes and turned off the cafe lights, Sophia and Matt stood embraced, looking at the city lights through the window. They had found their home, not in a palace, but in a small cafe where love had bloomed amid the aroma of coffee and the echo of sincere laughter.